So my name is Ishan, and I'm a non-engineer, and I started preparing for the CAT around August mid, and I enrolled with EduShastra to help me with my preparation. And my overall percentile for CAT 2020 was 96.27 percentile, and in Quant I scored 84.29 percentile. In DILR I scored 92.05, and in VARC I scored 98.83 percentile.
My name is Vipul Parashar. Okay. So
Okay,
I'm
sir.
into the management role even, and basically 12, 13 years in corporate world, and then management and as well as a faculty role in Shastra.
Yeah, hi Ishan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Uh, so Ishan, I am like taking and mentoring the CAT and the GMAT and other management courses since last approximately 17 years,
Yes,
and taking the quant, logical reasoning, and even sometimes the verbal part also.
yes, sir.
So yes, and okay, right. So this is all about.
Yes, sir.
I'm an MBA and BTech graduate, and I've been teaching students of CAT and GMAT for the last 3 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay, hi Ishan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
So Ishan, just introduce yourself. Tell me something about yourself.
Yes, sir. Sir, my name is Ishan Magan, and I'm from Bangalore. Uh, I completed my schooling from an alternative school where the focus was on experiential learning, being more socially aware of our surroundings, and having a wider base of what we know. So we did things like farming, we did cooking, we did cleaning, washing our clothes, everything. And it was a semi-residential school as well. After that, I started a BA economics course. It was an honors degree at Azim Premji University in Bangalore as well. And my minor was in applied mathematics.
So you graduated right now?
I am currently in my third year, sir. My final semester is on right now. I'll graduate in July, probably, depending on the COVID situation. There's still things are being figured out, but in July, probably.
Okay, Ishan. So Ishan, have you done with us some internships, some projects, some assignment during your this graduation part?
Yes, sir. So after my 12th standard was over, I did an internship where I worked with taking government data. I would be given government data, and then I had to use that data and create visualizations for a website called the Center for Sustainable Employment website.
Mhm.
And so I would make the graphs from these data.
Okay. And any seminar workshop have you attended somewhere? For like as you have a say, economics is a your graduation subject. So
Yes,
some
sir.
economical seminars, some economical workshop you have attended.
Not workshop exactly, sir, but as part of my honors degree, we have to do a specific project and we have to submit a thesis proposal, and then the whole faculty body gets together and decides whether they want to select you for the process. So mine was selected, and I was working on the intersection of machine learning in bots and game theory from economics.
Right. Yes, Vipul sir, please.
yeah, Ishan. So I'll start with a very basic question.
Yes, sir.
The question is why you? The question is why any business school should choose you?
Yes, sir. So because of the kind of very different kind of education I have been brought up in, especially my schooling, and the kind of experiences I've had as a result of this education, where we went on multiple trips all over India, where we talked to the marginalized groups of people and the socially backward groups of people. We spent time with them, like 2 weeks every year. We would go to various parts of India, and we would work with NGOs, work with these people to understand their issues. So the kind of experiences and perspective I have gained with with all these experiences has, I think, will help me bring a unique perspective to the classroom. I'm also quite statistically inclined with an analytical mind, and I enjoy working with people. I work well in groups and with other people.
Okay. So the basic thing you're saying is you will bring a diversity.
Yes, sir.
See, when we look at the school thing, it is a very protected a kind of a environment or a situation.
Yes, sir.
And most of the experiences you had in that is, I would say, guided experience, we call it.
Yes, sir.
So anything which is guided, for example, let's say I'm going to a zoo and I'm looking at the wildlife, and
Yes, sir.
I say that I have seen animals in the wildlife. Can I say that?
Not really, sir, because you're not looking at it in the natural habitat. You're looking at it in a
Correct.
zoo.
Correct. So just give me, see, I need pointers, I need facets. What
Yes,
are
sir.
the facet which you bring to business school? I understand you have a diverse background, but which facet is your core competency?
Sir, I have had a pretty good grounding in statistics, for example. I had a 12th standard course. We had a 12th standard exam in statistics. And even throughout college, I have taken an interest. I have picked courses which are inclined towards data and understanding statistics. So my analytical perspective to do with data and stats is quite advanced for someone who's just graduating out of college. This coupled with my knowledge and skills gained during my honors project, which is to do with game theory and machine learning and their intersection, makes me quite analytical. And therefore, I feel I would be able to make an impact at college. So you talked about the whole zoo example where you said that it is in some sense a guided experience which we all possess. But I would like to differ a little bit over here, sir, because we were often we would go there as a group, and from there we would disperse and we would live with the people in their own houses. So it was not as guided as that we were meeting only specific groups of people. We were given the chance to work with all the people who lived in that area. And it was literally like work like farming. We would go onto the fields, we would dig with them, plow with them, and just having basic conversations with these people is what makes me different, because we would be able to talk to them about things like government schemes are not coming to them. They are not able to access clean drinking water. There is no electricity, or the schools nearby, the teachers are not coming. So these kind of problems were very much in our face, and we were able to see them all the time, which is very different from the protected lifestyle I have at home, where we don't get to experience these things directly. So this kind of awareness which I developed after being here, being able to pick up these soft cues from people without them having to directly say, this is my issue, is one skill that I have. Secondly, being able to work with people I have no background about, I have no kind of interaction with before this first time I am working with them. I was able to develop good rapport with them, have a personal relationship with them, in the sense that they were comfortable talking to me. If you were not comfortable with them, they would not tell you their real issues, which would defeat the purpose of the whole experience. So to be able to develop an interpersonal relationship, that I think I picked up well. This extended to my college, where we had a lot of social group work, where we were put with people we had no idea about, and we were told to work with them. And the kind of projects we had required everyone to pitch in. It required different kinds of opinions. So being able to listen to an opinion that differs from yours without getting worked up and angry about it, or without arguing, but just being able to understand that this person has a different background and different opinions, and their opinions are valuable and bring something to the table as well. That ability to hear people out without putting your own opinion in the way and saying, look, I am better than this. I think these are the key skills that I have picked up with this alternative kind of education.
See, that's a good answer. Now, coming to the second part of the question, why they, that is why we are representing business school in this mock interview. Okay.
Yeah.
So the question now comes, why you choose us?
Yes, sir. So like I talked about all these different visits we have, I feel that, there are, of course, NGOs working to help these people out, but they don't have the power to say, I will give you a job. They can train you, they can support you, but at the end of it, bad working conditions for people, or just low wages, workers being taken advantage of, this can only be solved when a person or a business which is run in an ethical, sustainable, and profitable fashion, steps in and says, you know what, we will set up a business here. You come work for us. We will give you good working conditions, good wages, and we will also be a profitable firm. So I feel that I need to do an MBA to understand how such a firm would run, because I have no knowledge about how companies work or anything of that sort. I'm an economics student, so I understand how the economy functions, but not really how businesses partake in this economy, like the intricacies of a business. And therefore, I'd like to do an MBA from your college, as it would give me the business acumen and the tools which I could then use to make a social impact.
Still, the question is unanswered. Repeating my question,
Yes, sir.
the management skills, there are any number of business schools. And
Yes, sir.
when even looking at the global ranking, IIMS might be standing at 40 or 50 or maybe 90.
Yes, sir.
Once more the question stands, why us? Yes, the question now, let me rephrase the question so that you can understand it better.
Yes, sir.
Out of all the business schools, why us?
So, as your business school already has established itself as wanting to produce ethical leaders tomorrow, not just people who can make a profit, but also people who are ethical. And you have already established yourself, and there are committees set up, clubs which are looking at this. I feel that there's already a base for me to work with over here. You are also providing an opportunity for entrepreneurship where you're guiding people who want to become entrepreneurs later on. And there is already a base. I'm not coming into a place where there is very little focus on the areas that align with my thought process. So I think that you'd be a good fit for me as well, because this college's thought process aligns very much with my thought process.
So the point is, we are ethical. Which business school is on an ethical ground stand at number one, and why?
So one example I was looking at was IIM Shillong, where they already have set up a committee and a group of people who work with people in the Northeast and the development of that area in terms of providing better healthcare, providing better services, and providing better education. They run youth training centers run by IIM Shillong itself. So, for example, that would be a huge plus point for me, because there's already an avenue where it is combining both having a social impact as well as using business tools to help provide the social impact, which aligns with what I would like to do as well.
So the definition of ethical is community. Am I correct?
For me, it is having an impact on the least best of people who
Okay.
have it the hardest.
So Ishan, just a question. How do you define perfection?
How do I
Who's
define
perfect?
perfection?
Who is perfect according to your view? How do you say, let's say if I'm saying, I want to be a perfect guy, how you define perfection?
To me, perfection would be a trait that both takes you to what you know is your best capabilities. Perfection, I feel, is subjective to each person. It depends on what kind of capacities you have, what kind of skills you have. And as long as you are utilizing your capacity and skill to its utmost, while also being aware of your surroundings and using your capacities or skills is not negatively affecting anyone, I think that would be perfection.
No, you see, the question was, what's your perfection? Everyone.
What's
try
my
to,
perfection?
yes, everyone is is yearning for perfection, is trying to strive for perfection.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
I understand it's a subjective point. Everyone will define it in a different way. I just
Sure.
needed to know how you define it and what exactly you are striving for.
So for me, perfection would be being able to be part of an organization that is both profitable and sustainable, and most importantly, takes care of everyone else around it, even within the organization and the people this organization touches. Maybe I will not have the chance to be the head of this organization immediately, but eventually, after gaining certain experiences, I would like to be someone who is part of such an organization.
Okay. So Mr. Krishan.
So Ishan, as you pointed out that you did your thesis work on data analytics and machine learning, right?
Yeah, machine learning a little bit, and game theory majorly. Yes.
Game theory majorly. So if I talk about the data analytics, so why is data analytics important?
So, so the power of data, especially now that we have so much data being generated and we don't even have the capacity to store it, let alone analyze it. But the power of data is visible through, if I would give an example, if that is all right. I can talk about how if you're a bank and you want people to change to a new plan of, say, a savings account or something, you either can send an email to everyone or try and send it out to everyone and say, okay, would you like to change? Or if you have data on them, you can use it to say, make a regression and then say, you know what, I would take these people are the most likely to accept my offer. So hence I will only send it to these people. That saves you time and saves your resources. So this is just one very basic example of how data can be powerful. But also I was very interested in data science. Apart from, of course, it being an exceptionally powerful tool, I was interested in statistics throughout school, and hence that extended to data.
Okay. And if you talk about like you are from the economics background, so
Yes,
if you
sir.
talk about the taxation, everyone is talking about taxation. So why taxation is important to the government and how does it affect the growth of the country?
So taxation, as we all know, is just basically the amount. There's two types of taxation, which is your direct and indirect taxation. Your direct taxation being income tax and direct taxes which are applied to people, and indirect would be a GST. So I feel that both of these are revenue generation forms for the government, but they also take away disposable income from the people who are giving the tax, which decreases their spending capacities a little bit. It affects people differently, but it does decrease spending capacities. Spending capacities are reflected in a decrease in demand, which would then affect how much you produce, because supply and demand need to be the same for there to be a trade happen. So, of course, your taxation does affect your demand, and it is a hindrance on the economy in some sense. But at the same time, it is also a tool the government uses to spend in areas which need to be spent on. This could be healthcare, this could be education, military, it could be development, anything. But this money is very required.
Okay, that's great. Ankush, sir?
Okay, Ishan. So, Ishan, as you're an economic graduate, so can you elaborate, Professor Amartya Sen?
Matheson, economists, yes.
Yeah. So, can you elaborate a little bit over the theory he gave regarding the economics,
So, which theories are specifically? Can you,
for which he got the Nobel Prize?
sir, I cannot recall that currently. Sir, could you ask me a different question?
Okay, okay, right. So, Ishan, as you have seen the budget presently, right? Some
Yes, sir.
time back, a week back, or something.
Yes, sir.
So, the government is basically planning to decentralize the various public sector units. They have
Yes, sir.
proposed that okay, we'll be decentralizing different banks and different other units which are presently in the public sector units. So, what do you think? Is this decision is a good or bad for the say in the terms of the country?
So, sir, this time, because of the whole COVID pandemic that has hit the country, we have had quite a large fiscal deficit as well of 9.5% of the GDP.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, now they are saying that, we will bring this down. They have set a glide path for it over the next 5-6 years to bring it down to the FRBM levels of 3%. But right now, 9.5%, we need to fund this somehow. And borrowing is, of course, one way to do it. But disinvestment, as the government has proposed, is also another way to do it. Now, they're talking about taking out a stake from LIC.
Mm-hmm.
And disinvestment has been proposed before, but what has happened is they have tried to sell Air India, for example, a stake in Air India, but not too many people want to purchase Air India because it is not really profit generating. It is very difficult to run an aviation company right now in India, especially because of lower demand as well as lower profits. So LIC is much more lucrative, and people are very likely to pounce on it and buy LIC, which will give the government much needed money right now, because the kind of hit the government, the country has taken, the economy of the country has taken, both due to the pandemic and the loss in demand as a result of the lockdowns, is quite significant. So I think that it is okay to disinvest right now. We need the money, and the smaller businesses and medium businesses definitely need some kind of boost.
Okay. And implementing the decision of GST rather than say different taxes. state tax and central tax. So now the government has implemented the GST. So how good is this to generate the revenue for the government?
So GST, I think personally, I feel is a very great tool to help us out
Mhm.
because as we know that this January's collection of GST is the record highest, even though we are coming out of a pandemic. It is the
Mhm.
record highest we have seen since 2016. But the main point is that it makes business simpler. People don't have to go and see what are the different kinds of taxes we have to fill out. When you have one GST number, you can work with that and say, okay, this is all I have to fill out. And the ease of business affects the quality of business as well, I feel. People are more freer and they are more, how shall I put it? They're more willing to do business because it is easier. There's no more hindrance. So the GST in that sense has helped the country boost its business.
Okay, right. Yes, Vipul, so please continue.
Yes. Uh, okay. So now, Ishan, let's say talking about the future.
Yes, sir.
Let's say Ishan is 50 years old now. After,
Yes.
let's say, 30 years down the line, where is Ishan? What is he doing?
So ideally, as of now, my plan is to get a little work experience after finishing an MBA because I feel that it is important to know how things function apart from just the academics of it. And working in a couple of companies, I would like to gain the knowledge of various domains, not just one sector, but the MBA also enables me to explore various domains. So over the next 15 years, say, I would like to have gained some experience working for different firms. And then after that, the plan is to then decide which place I would like to start my own business in, where I think I can have an impact and where I would enjoy working. So when I'm 50, hopefully this plan would have been put in action and it would be on track as well.
So, what kind of a business? What you would be doing? What is a long-term goals like? Let's say 30 years down the line, what I would be doing? What kind of a company I would be having? Some kind of a rough sketch.
So definitely, so ideally, I would like to have started my own company by then. And again, ideally speaking, it would hopefully be something that now I don't know exactly which domain it will be in. That's why I want to take the experience of various firms and understand each domain. But whichever domain it is in, I feel that the most important factors would be for me would be being able to run a profitable firm, like I said, while also having an impact and making sure that everyone is treated in a humane fashion rather than just using them as tools.
Let's say in a situation, you have a choice
Yes,
of
sir.
surviving the business, maybe company survival,
Hmm.
and the second option might be the community. Let's say I have 10 employees, and if I keep the 10 employees, my company actually goes bankrupt.
Sure,
If
sir.
I ask them to leave, um, they have a very terrible life. Let's say these situations like COVID and all, where there is no job or anything,
Definitely, sir.
uh, what path you would be taking?
So I would like to, again, I'd like to take an example, a company, I can't exactly remember the name right now, where all the employees, because of the close knit community that the employees and the people who were working in the company had formed together, allowed for this to happen. This is not going to happen on a regular basis, but the ethos of the company allowed for all the people to take a pay cut instead of paying them all the same amount of salary. Everyone took a pay cut, and you were not firing anybody after. So your expenditure went down. The salaries you were paying went down, but everyone got to keep their job, and the company survived the hard times.
So basically, you're saying you will do a balancing act.
Yeah, I don't think either extreme would be appropriate, but surely there is a way.
Okay. Ishan, what are your weaknesses?
So one of my biggest weakness, and if you've seen my profile, one of my biggest falls has been my 12th score, which was drastically lower than both my 10th and my college scores. And that was partly because I got complacent after my 10th a little bit. I did well in my 10th, and I thought that studying the same amount will fetch me a good score in my 12th. But I obviously didn't do well in my 12th. And I feel that my weakness was that I need to take a fall sometimes to learn a lesson. And of course, once I learn that lesson, I will never make the same mistake again. But sometimes that fall is very necessary for me. And now looking back, in some way, I'm glad that I didn't do great in 12th, because that means that from now on, I'm never going to make that same mistake again. But sometimes I do need a fall to pick up.
Ishan, are you a team member or a team leader? Let's say can I describe you as a team leader or a good team member?
So I would say leader, sir, because of all the kind of projects and group work we do throughout school and college. I'm always the one who is taking charge of the group, trying to set out work for each person, trying to push people to be on the deadline, finish their work, and trying to see how it all comes together. Now, this may be a result of the fact that people look to me, or maybe I am a little controlling in that sense, but I like to make sure that everything is done, it will be done on time, and it will be done well. So I do take charge, even though I'm not specifically allotted most of the times, but it does help.
So what is the one thing which you find different between a team leader and a team member?
So I think that would be the motivation levels. And so for a team leader, it is they are more focused on making sure that everyone feels involved in the group work. No one feels like, okay, this group is just working and I'm just a part of this group, but I'm not really contributing anything. Everyone feels like they've contributed something. There is quality work coming out of this group. It's not just badly done work. It is done on time. I think these are the aspects that a team leader would also focus on and would find crucial to the success of the group. A team member would be satisfied with doing what is allotted to them, but would not so much worry about the outcome of the group's work, or if how's everyone else feeling about this. I think that differentiates.
In a way, we can say that a leader is a self-motivator and a team needs motivation from a team leader. Am I correct?
In some sense, that leader also motivates everyone else.
He's a self-motivator, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. There is a saying, Nazi Germany, I think you must be knowing, there is a saying, if you repeat any lie many times, it becomes a truth. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what's your opinion on this comment? Nazi Germany actually worked on this comment, and they had quite a lot of things they did using these kind of Joseph Goebbels. I think everyone remembers in many of the speeches used this kind of a comment.
Yes, sir. So, for example, there was a study conducted later on this whole idea of the whole Nazi Germany idea of how Hitler functioned. People were surprised that, if someone was told to murder a bunch of gas, a whole room of living people, how did they do it? Were they psychopaths? Was there something wrong with them? So there was a study conducted, which was, I think, the name escapes me, but it was a psychology study conducted where people were told to give electric shocks, small electric shocks, to people who were learning. So someone had to teach them a couple of words and they had to learn some word association. And if they messed up and they didn't do it right, they had to give them a shock. So
give them a what?
Electrical shock, just a small electrical shock. And so people were doing this and people were giving the shock. Even when the other person was saying, you're hurting me, I'm a heart patient, don't give me a shock, you're hurting me, they were doing this. So what the study established was that this was not so much the work itself which was being given, but your acceptance of authority. If someone has told you to do this, okay, I'm going to do this, which is what they tied back to the whole principle of how the Nazis functioned, that it was authority. Now, you talked about spreading, when you repeat a lie so many times, it becomes true.
Correct.
I feel that this is similar to what I am talking about, where you tell people that it is okay to kill people. It's a lie. It is not okay. But they start to accept it not only because it is a repetition, but because it is coming from someone they consider higher authority.
Okay. See, most of the, I think, Nuremberg trials, when they had, after the World War II, many of the Nazis, supreme leaders, were caught. And when they were asked why, the answer was very simple. That was my duty. And rather, what exactly police or army do when they lathi charge on anyone? Or let's say when the army bombs or fights or sprays bullets or put Bofors guns or to the enemy country. Obviously, isn't that a duty? let me put the thing much better perspective, which will, I think, you will align with.
Yes, sir.
Let's say you are in a company and your boss says two of your subordinates have to go and give them a pink slip today evening. Now that's a major, very I would say a daily routine for many people.
True,
And
sir.
when where they call, obviously, if you have a sadistic pleasures, you will like it. But talking to the same kind of a example which you have given, old people do it. So how
Yeah.
do you see the difference between the Nuremberg trials, Nazis saying that's the duty? I was told to do it. I was doing a duty to, maybe I'm doing a duty to the Prime Minister. They were doing to Mr. Hitler, whatever. So
So,
how does it changes you from them?
so, so again, both of them I feel are an example of listening to authority in some sense. Like your boss told you have to fire somebody.
Correct.
Hitler ordered people to kill the Jews. They are both examples of authority, but the magnitude of the effects you've had, I feel quite different. Now, of course, this shouldn't be the only defining factor between the two. But in some sense, if you are giving people the pink slip, quote unquote, in a dignified manner and explaining to them that has to happen for this reason. Now, of course, my goal eventually is to have a company where this will be a little different, which is very utopic, no doubt about it.
You will make it dignified. You will kill it with a dignified way, in a way.
I wouldn't
See,
say
let's say
kill it,
let
sir, but
no, no. See, the magnification is not the point. The point is the ethics. Okay.
yes, sir.
Why I asked this question was because you banged upon the ethics and the community point.
Yes, sir.
And believe me, when you run the company, the main priority, community always comes as a very big point. But if you're given a choice, even given a, let's say, one way out, and most of the people in the corporate world are giving pink slips in a daily basis right now in the COVID situations. So
Definitely, sir.
I'm just trying to, it's been a quite long interview now. I want to make it short now. Let me put a
Yes, sir.
very thing in most of the extermination camps, okay,
Yes,
in the
sir.
Nazi Germany times, um, the soldiers were not agreeing to what was happening. Number one.
Okay, sir.
Number two, they never wanted to be part of any dying thing. So what they used to do was, um, they when they used to lead people to any gas chambers, the idea was, most of the people, you may not know that most of the people, when they used to move into the extermination camp or gas chambers, used
Yes,
to
sir.
go singing and dancing. You know how? They were told that you are going to a different camp or a low security camp. You have to be take a bath or something, some reason kind of a thing. They were always given. They never went. Most of the people, I wouldn't say everyone, but most of the people went to the gas chambers thinking that they are going for a better future. That's a different question. That was it a better future or not? That's not the point. The point I was trying to make was it was dignified. I'm just trying to make the same point. It
Yes, sir.
was it was moved by an authority. That's what was done. I'm not trying to uh, give them a good cause kind of a thing. I'm just trying to tell you
Sure, sir.
that the thing, if an extermination is happening right now, a hanging man in the Tihar jail is hanging a person. How is it different from the Nazi soldier killing? I don't exactly understand the difference. So that was the point, because you raised the community point so many times. So I
Yes,
was
sir.
putting that point.
Yes. So, Ishan, what is your rating on a scale of 1 to 10 for this?
For the interview, sir, I
Yes.
would say I stumbled on, I think, one question I was not able to answer, which you asked me about Amartya Sen, sir. So
Yeah.
that would be a negative point for me. And also the example, so Drew, about Nazi Germany, my answer was not satisfactory there either. So that would be another negative point. So I would say around 7 on 10, maybe.
Yeah. So basically, like if I talk about being a say a graduate, economic graduate, And we have a say so much great personality in India, Dr. Amartya Sen, and he forwarded us a one theory regarding economic and got a Nobel Prize on a world level. So I suggest that being a graduate, just we have a say some past history of the economics, how this is like evaluated, how this is like get us a this much of label and different heights of the economics, right?
Sure, sir.
Just read us something regarding us is such good personality, right? Even like
Definitely.
Dr. In a present time, we know that Dr. Manmohan Singh is a very great economist.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
So yes, my suggestion is just this: just please revise the fundamentals and read a little bit about such those great personalities.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your feedback.
Correct. Yes, sir. Please.
Yes, yes, my feedback. See, I always tell all my students to have very big clarity on why you and why they. I was not very convinced with the answer. I am rating from 1 to 10. I'm rating it around 5.
Okay.
You took it very well. The points you were making was that the EQ points you made, the emotional quotient point of diversity, community, social, was very good. The only thing is you were not able to carry it. You were not
Okay,
able to
sir.
carry it when prodded further, because see what happens is when you put a strength point and which was very different from the other, most of the people will not have that kind of schooling which you had.
Yes,
So
sir.
I think you were not able to bank upon it, as we say. You
Sure,
actually
sir.
um, वो strength को actually you let it slip out of your hand.
Ji, sir.
Okay, and have where when you say why you and why they, try not to have a holistic points and try to make it points um, very focused on the skills. Okay, you are
Sure,
not
sir.
going to business school for learning MBA. You're not going to a business school for learning businesses. No one learns
Yeah.
businesses in a business school.
Yeah.
Okay, and even the point you made was that I want to move into different I would say departments to or different companies to know what to do or to start your own company. And that's not the way it happens. Um, the business is an idea. Okay,
Yes, sir.
business is nothing else. Uh,
Okay.
okay, it's not operations, it's not marketing, it's sales. Everything gets it's the second thing which happens. The first thing is an
Okay, sir.
idea. मैं समोसे को बेचूंगा 1 रुपए में. This is an idea. Okay,
Yes, sir.
this is a business. Okay, now how to market it, how to take it to the market, sales, operations, market penetration, that's a different things. Business is an idea. No business will teach you an idea. If you go to any company, what they will do, यहाँ बैठ जाओ, इस फाइल को इधर से उधर ले जाओ. Now go to this store, handle this store. Try to look into what is the employee, why employees and such a big attrition is happening. Look at this operations, everything is SOP or not. Standard operating procedures are happening. Please look at the audit files. This is what you do.
Yes, sir.
So no business teach you to do business. Okay,
Right, sir.
there's a difference between business and employee.
Yeah.
No one give, even our schooling system, college system, no one teaches you how to do business or how to get rich. Business schools, education, school teaches you how to be a good employee, how to follow the things which others say.
Yes, sir.
Business is not that. Business is not following. That was a question I was asking team leader
Okay,
and a
sir.
team member.
Okay.
Your all talk, your
Okay.
all the way you portray yourself, the way the strength point you make is a strength point of a team leader. Not no, sorry, team member, not a team leader. Team leader is an idea generator, the person
Okay,
who
sir.
gives an idea and then takes the people along.
Okay,
That's a
sir.
team leader. So if I map you into some parameters, the first is the leadership parameters.
Yes, sir.
Just think, if looking at what the things you said, on the scale of 1 to 10, where to rate you? Leadership skills. Number two, looking at the entrepreneurship skills,
Yes,
the
sir.
things you said, I'm not rating you. I'll ask you to rate yourself on the entrepreneurship scale from 1 to 10. What things you have done in your life? is the best reflection what you're going to do in the future. If
Right,
I
sir.
need to know Ishan, what he's going to do in future is what I will do is I will prod into your past. Look
Yes.
into the whole past. I'll talk to your teacher, parents, college, and I'll know what you're going to do 10 years down the line. I can forecast it as a teacher because you're not
Right,
going
sir.
to change. Okay,
That's
your
true, sir.
nature is going to be the same. The way same weaknesses, strengths you're going to carry until unless you're doing a very major haul, major something changes in you. The
Sure, sir.
point is look at your scaling in leadership facet, entrepreneurship facet, management and organizational facet, creativity and problem solving facet, and the EQ facet. In EQ facet, you stand around 9 out of 10. And that's
Okay,
your
sir.
strength point. Bank on it, push it, you will win.
Sure, sir. I'll
Yeah,
keep
Mr.
it in mind,
Kush.
sir.
Yes.
So I will just say that be just aware of the current affairs which are happening. Like if you talk about the budget, also the budget has been released. So the questions could be according to that also because it has just been released.
Sure,
And you're
sir.
from an economics background, and try to talk numbers in it. Like just try to see like which thing is like let's say if healthcare budget is increased, so by how much percent it is increased, and by like just try to talk numbers because you are from the economics background and they will be expecting it
Sure,
rather
sir.
from a generalized way, right?
Yes, sir.
Chalo, theek hai. So nice talking to you
Thank you
and
so
best
much,
of
sir.
luck. Okay.
Right. Best of luck, Ishan. Best of luck.
Thank you.